thank you first of all for sitting here. My presentation is not going to be so lively as what Bo and Justin have just done, and I'm not going to jump around so much. I have been through their fitness program, and I nearly killed my business partner, Dave Savage, who sat at the back over there. By taking him on that journey, well, they nearly killed him. So I'm going to try to keep this quite short and sweet and informative for you guys. I'll give you a little bit of background on me, and then we'll run through what the discussion is on training for franchisors and franchisees. So my background is as a trainer in the commercial and government world. I've been a trainer for 12 years, 7 years in franchising, and in 2013 I founded a company called Spun Candy, which is represented here by the World Franchise Associates by Troy Franklin. Spun Candy is a handmade confectioners where we have, we come from the UK where we've got 2 locations, and we're predominantly within the Middle East GCC area, North Africa as well, and we've got 1 unit in Miami. This is the basis really for some of the discussions on how training is developed for franchisees and franchisors. The company I'm representing here today is Ibex Effect, and Ibex Effect is a franchise and licensing consultancy agency. What we do is we do a number of different things. We work with very up-and-coming brands, conceptual ideas, and we'll discuss some of those brands shortly. As a consultancy, we partner with various other companies, one being the World Franchise Associates, who organise our marketing for us globally. As a business, we look to develop franchise systems and frameworks for franchisors. So that could be making a business franchise ready. So if you've got a juice bar or you've got a restaurant and you want to franchise it, we can come in as a business and put that framework and those systems in place. Franchising is just about taking a proven business model and scaling it. So what we do is we work on our experience of being able to do that and put those processes in place, those manuals, those standard operating procedures, food safety, all those different elements. The main subject we want to talk about here is around the training side, and as you see from Studio Fitness, training is such a big part of that service that franchisors offer to their franchisees. They've developed a system that works for them, and especially within the service industry, within the gyms and other businesses, it's very, very important to have a very, very robust training program and training manual. So, training programs. When we look at a business and we want to help them franchise, one of the first areas we will look at is the operations manual and what they've got in place already. From that, we will be able to create a robust training program for that franchisor. We want to maintain consistency. So if someone goes into a Studio Fitness or a Spun Candy or a Genie Juicery, anywhere in the world, they are going to get the same level of service and experience. And that's so important. We want to maintain those brand values for that brand, okay? Because as a franchisee, you're buying the rights to that brand, yeah? You've been sold on it, you like what you've seen, so you want to maintain that to that level of service. It's also a commitment to the franchisees. A franchisee wants to know what they're doing. If they wanted to be an entrepreneur, they would go out and start their own business, but what they want to do is they want to buy a business that is already established, okay, and that they can get a return on investment. I always treat franchisees as if they're investors, okay? They're putting their hard-earned cash into a business, and they want to get a return on that investment. So they want to follow those guidelines. So it's so important to put in a robust training program for the franchisor. What's also important is constant evaluation of the product and the service that you deliver. And it's working with, as a franchisor, is working with the franchisees to understand how they work, yeah, what works for them. I operate 6 stores in 3 different continents now, and what works in one country might not necessarily work in another, so we have to adapt our training, okay, and the level of service that we provide within our franchisees to deal with the cultural clients that they have there. And if you've got a robust training program and operations manual and a system to follow, you're going to increase revenues. And that works for both sides. Franchisee is going to get that good return on investment, and then the franchisor is going to get more royalties coming out of it. Whenever we look at a franchisor and we want to develop a training program, we will always start off with the principles of training. First is about the experience. We concrete the experience. So within Spun Candy, which is my own business, ours is a 3-month training program. But what we want to do is we want people to make mistakes. We want them to teach them something and then make a mistake. Once they've made the mistake, we want them to reflect, okay, and understand why they made the mistake. And that's the observations part. The conceptualization is then really, really understanding why they did that and how they're going to not make that mistake again. And then the final bit is the active, the experimental side, okay, it's going back in, okay. Now you've made that mistake, is not to do it again and do it the right way. And in any form of training, this will always be the foundations of and the principles of how we should train people. Okay, to come out with the best service or product. On to learning styles. Everybody in this room will learn in a very, very different way. Some people are much more creative. They want the freedom, they want the autonomy to make mistakes. Other people need to work to set principles. If we use the example of Studio Fitness, we don't really want the trainers to be too creative in the early days. We want them to develop their own styles, okay, when they're teaching other people, but they've got to stick to a set of principles. As Bo and Justin mentioned, you know, they're both pilots, they've been taught in a certain way, but the way Justin learns, the way Bo learns, will be very, very different. And this is about your personality here, okay? If you're active or reflective, you're sensing or you're intuitive. And this is very important when, as a trainer, to understand who your students are or who the audience is. Because once you understand the way people learn, it makes it much, much easier to train. So this is about setting the foundations as a franchisor of how we develop our training programs, okay, to get the best out of your franchisees. So when we look to develop a training program, and we haven't developed Studio Fitness's training program, we've worked with them on more of the framework side. They've developed it themselves because they know what they're doing. But if we were looking at another brand, what we would want to do is we would want to understand in depth every part of the business. So we'd go through the operations manual if we haven't written it. We'd be engaging with personnel, we'd understand what their job is on a daily basis, okay? And we will then identify the training topics that we need to pull out of that operations manual to then develop the best training manual for that franchisor, okay? So the current clients that we work with, and I'm just going to talk briefly about each of these. Malibu, I don't know if you've heard of Malibu as a brand. It's owned by Pernod Ricard. Malibu came to us last year and they wanted to develop a conceptual experiential experience for their customers. Malibu is a rum brand. It's been around for many, many years, but they need to extend that brand out. So what we're doing as a business is we're looking to understand how we can put that brand into different markets and not just be a bar which sells Malibu. So we're looking at a concept at the moment of where we're playing Caribbean beach games, yard games, and having street food and also a bar as well. Now, as we go through this process with them, we will be developing their operations manuals and their training manuals, and we will be setting the service standards of what we would expect the service staff to do, the bar staff, the staff that are going to be teaching the street games, the yard games, and we will develop that whole process for them. If we look at Rovio, Rovio is the owners of Angry Birds. Angry Birds came to us and they wanted us to create a cafe concept for them in the F&B market. And we're working on that currently, where we'll probably launch in Southeast Asia and the GCC in the coming year. And again, that's creating a training for the menu development, making sure that the chefs produce the menus that we want, that the service staff are there, that the experiential side is there. So we will develop that all from the ground up. These are concepts that don't exist at the moment. They're brands that exist, but these are brand extensions for us. Connection D'Art is a phone company that produce very, very high-end phones with alligator skin or calf hide on. Now, it's an iPhone. There are between about 4,000 and 6,000 US that they retail out. They wanted to understand their route to market, so what we've done is we've created a retail concept for them, and then we're developing the sales and marketing training for their sales staff. Mr. Green Juice is a brand from Hong Kong, which is a cold press juice brand. Again, we've developed their training for how the guys and girls will produce the juices and how they go out and sell them. Studio Fitness you know about already, which we've spoken, and Spun is my own brand. And our training program is 3 months long. And we teach everybody the basics, the science behind confectionery, how sugar reacts between 108 degrees going up to hard rock at 160 degrees. And we go into the very, very detail around this. That is probably one of the longest training programs that most franchisors will offer, which is 3 months. But out of it, we get artists at the very end, okay, that can create a product that is handmade. So when you're, as a franchisor, you want to develop your training team that is going to be a brand ambassador for you, okay? One of the most difficult things for a company like Studio Fitness is to find guys like Bo and Justin that have that energy. Clearly I don't have the energy, I'm not jumping around at the moment. I probably wouldn't be a great trainer for them with, you know, with my stomach like this. They have tried, but they failed. But it comes on to this point, we need practitioners, yeah? People that have done it, who understand it. So using this as an example, you know, they need to understand the fitness industry, they need to understand the muscle groups, and they need to understand when someone like me is going to keel over and die. They've got to have the right attitude, okay? And attitude's one thing that you can't teach. You need that person to inspire, lead, and be excited. I do get more excited when I do train. Sometimes it's, you know, my energy will come out a little bit. And then they've got to have interpersonal skills and be able to engage with everybody, understand different cultures. You know, I worked out in Brunei for 3 years working for the government, training out there, and it was understanding the cultures and how people react, and you know, the amount of time that people want to have breaks, and respecting that. And it was a fantastic environment to work with. You know, and I now, you know, do training out in Qatar and out in Dubai and out in Kuwait. Now dealing with different Arab cultures is understanding that the Qataris think very, very differently to the Emiratis or the Kuwaitis. So you really need to understand that and then develop your interpersonal skills. And then it's about having the flexibility if things go wrong, like this doesn't work, okay, how are we going to overcome it and not get stressed? So these are the great qualities that you need from a trainer, okay? Overall, they need to be a brand ambassador. They need to go out there and they need to represent your business, okay? Because if they're delivering the training, okay, that is what the staff are going to remember. They're not going to remember someone like me that's gone and sold them a franchise. They're going to remember the trainers that have delivered them a great product. And, you know, the final slide here is on evolution. And when you're looking at delivering training, it's about constantly evolving your training program as products and services develop. Is monitoring, okay, getting the feedback from your franchisees. I learn so much more from my franchisees than probably what I teach them now, okay? Especially after they have been operating. I have some guys over in Dubai and they operate 65 concepts. What can I teach them about retail? They know retail inside out. I go there and I learn, but then what I do with that is I then adapt it into the training to teach the other franchisees, our international partners worldwide, and about that sharing of information. We need to listen to them. And it's not just about listening to the management, it's about listening to the staff and to the customers. For the last 2 weeks I've been over in the Middle East, and when I go into the stores, I want to speak to all the staff. I know all my staff by name. Okay, out of 70 staff that I have around the world with my franchisees, I know every single one of my candy makers by name. Okay, because I want to listen to them, I want to understand what's going on. And I also want to stand there and speak to the customers whilst I'm in the stores. And the final part is about adapting, okay? Adapting to those cultures and adapting to the market as we move forward. The economy changes, tastes change, public expectations change in what they want. So we need to adapt, but still staying very, very true to our brand values. And that's it from me. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. If you've got any questions, I'll more than happily answer them, or you can come and find me at the World Franchise Associates area with these guys. Dave Savage, my business partner, is probably going to prompt me with a little question to tease some more out of you.